Hello, and welcome to SPS Unscripted, a podcast between two friends who have never met, living in opposite ends of the UK, connected by a rare neurological disease called stiff person syndrome. Our journey to soul sisterhood started via messages, supportive messages, which has now grown into a wonderful journey of empathy, encouragement, and learning to live the best version of ourselves. Join your hosts, L and M, for some cosy chit-chat. Pour yourself a drink, make yourself comfortable as we discuss all things life. Hello, and welcome to today's podcast. We are both looking forward to today's discussion because it is a topic we are both passionate about, which is self-care, well-being, and all things light, being present, finding joy, self-soothing. In what may seem very obvious, familiar techniques to many, it's a very true saying that you don't know what you have until it's gone. And for many, particularly Lindsay and myself, what once may have come naturally can be lost in a path of diagnosis. So I can see Lindsay down in the valleys smiling away. Hello, which makes me think she is in the zone after practicing her self-care this morning and is eager to discuss all things wonderful and uplifting. So hello, Lindsay. How are you today?
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
All is well. All is well here down in the valleys. It's been a beautiful start to the day, actually. A few little family issues popping in, but nothing to disturb the morning too much.
Lovely.
Here I am, a morning of gratitude indeed. And having said that, I'd like to just start with a quote, which I think is really beautiful. It's by a Melanie Beatty or Beatty, not too sure how to pronounce her surname, but it goes like this. Gratitude turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos into order, confusion into clarity. It makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. So I think that's really beautiful.
It is.
A wonderful way to start every day. The moment you open your eyes.
Indeed.
Hand on heart, as we were just discussing.
Yes.
And bring that thought of clarity through gratitude. Gratitude is amazing. You cannot feel gratitude and joy and feel fear, sadness at the same time. The human brain just cannot do it. So, yes, that's my quote for this morning.
I think it's absolutely beautiful. And as you say, starting the day with gratitude, it can be an array of how people practice this. For me personally, as soon as I open my eyes and I hear everyone is up in the house, I give thanks. As you know, many of us are spiritual beings and follow a faith, religion, whatever it is that people follow. But for me, as soon as I hear those footsteps, I give thanks to God that everyone woke up today. And that's my first moment of the day. And from there, as you say, the process of, as you've spoken to me, Lindsay, and helped me on my journey, is thank you for my lungs. Thank you for my eyes. Thank you for my senses. Thank you for my legs. And indeed, it's a beautiful way to start the day and a very gentle, to start the processes. Calm and overactive mind that perhaps wants to kickstart you, jackknife you into chaos. So there's another way, and it can start with a very small step of thank you, saying the word thank you.
I have learned I need to catch myself with those first 17 seconds. That's how quick I have to be, or otherwise the randomness of my thoughts will take me. The momentum will build so quickly, so fast. That will be the point of the start of my day, which will carry through my day. So I'm very, very mindful, no matter what is going on in life, in SPS life, catch myself when I open my eyes and give that gratitude of thank you for my heart, thank you for my lungs, thank you for my legs, thank you for this day.
Yes.
And then even when and if you're waking in pain, in physical pain, emotional pain, mental pain, bringing yourself back to center and
Yes.
then saying to yourself, thank you for this bed I lay in right now. Thank you for the warmth of the blanket against my skin, taking it right the way back to the tiny, small things. And then hopefully everything then, your mind, it will start following suit into, feeding into the rest of your day.
Indeed. And it's a beautiful practice. And to pick up on that, which, in the introduction there to this podcast, you don't know what you've lost and what you have until it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that from when my children have been very young, it's grace before meals and after meals, and guiding them in their journey of spirituality, their gratitude, is to say thank you for keeping me warm today, thank you for giving me friends, thank you for the food, thank you for somewhere safe to sleep, because unless we have lost any of those things, or we have indeed went hungry for a few days, or the boiler's been turned off. Let's not even go to people that are perhaps homeless and struggling today. But even just simple things of living in my own life, if the boiler's off, if the boiler's broken for a couple of days, you don't appreciate the heat and the hot water until it's gone. And then suddenly everyone is like, oh my goodness, thank goodness for the hot water when I'm washing the dishes. So I think, as you say, it's the most simplest of practices, but yet incredibly important. Incredibly important, which leads us on to me, Lindsay, you are very well versed in this practice of self-care within your journey. And I have dabbled my toes and I've created my own ripples along the way. But it really had taken me to start my journey with SPS to really start to learn what is true self-care. What are the practices that can allow me to reach a stage of calm, to feed into my heart, to feed into my soul, in moments of calm, and also in moments of where there can be, as life is, it's very unpredictable. But as we practice these, and they become habitual almost, but consciously habitual, we then can bring these moments of self-care into when things are not going so well that day.
Yeah.
And we really need them. And you know me, I can be like a spinning top and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And then I hear this lovely, gentle voice saying, sweetheart, come back to center. And I start my tapping, etc. So I'm wondering if we could perhaps look at our own practices, but other practices that are out there to help people.
Yeah.
So before we started this podcast, for example, we both practiced some EFT, hand over our heart with deep breath and gratitude.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
And we both have the same sweet spot as well, don't we? Above the heart, tapping gently above the heart. And just for listeners out there, this has been so far. My journey with this has been about 3 years, maybe a little bit longer now, and this has become a way of life for me. So I kind of fall into the routine, and when I come off that path of the love and light energy, it feels so uncomfortable, I know I've come off, and I steer myself back on, even having a wobble. And if I'm on the, sending a voice note and I'm like, holy smokes, I'm just, and life has taken over. And then I bring myself back so much more quickly now. Whereas 3 years ago, it was the complete opposite. I was in complete fear mode all the time, 1,000% of the time. So I think what I'm trying to say is this, for some people, comes naturally. Other people, it takes a step at a time, particularly if you've never lived your life this way, which I never did. I was always 100 miles an hour, even before SPS. My mind was always 100 miles an hour. My body always 100 miles an hour, until I hit rock bottom, and it was, there has to be another way. Somebody, throw me a bone, switch a light on, I don't know, bring a candle into my room, into the darkness, just show me something. And it was very, very small steps. So don't become overwhelmed if you're like, M&L, what on earth? What are you talking about?
They're off, they're off their heads. They're crazy.
Yeah.
And I completely resonate with what you're saying there, Lindsay, because we have very similar personalities and work ethics, and in relation to that, we were spinning all plates. And as you say, I knew there had to be another way. And even with my clinical background, I mean, I'm a hypocrite because I'm giving out all this advice, but in my own life, I was hitting rock bottom. I was hitting the wall. I was everywhere. I mean, talk about being hypocritical. If there was a definition, my name should be in there in the dictionary. Well, there is a definition, but my name should be in there with that. So as you say, that small step for me was sound baths. Very simple, nothing grand, nothing difficult, other than on Spotify. I always loved birdsong. I always loved whale song. But I knew I needed something that was more settling to help with my breathing at that time as well. And I found on Spotify rose quartz. And that became my soundtrack of life for a good couple of years. So as you say, it can be such a gentle step forward. It doesn't have to be this. Remember what I said to you, this well-being workout. It shouldn't be difficult. It shouldn't be forced.
It should feel good.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be forced. And I think, that was something as well when I'm saying to you, Lindsay, this isn't working today. And I always remember you saying, but it shouldn't be forced. Just try and find that gentle space. And it's been a wonderful journey thus far. So that was my first. Sorry, beg your pardon.
No, that's fine. Just where you're sharing your first experience with that, something that's just come into mind. I was having a particularly difficult time, SPS wise, and my husband, he scooped me up and he booked a few days. It was Cornwall, to right at the beach, and it was sink your toes into the sand, my love. Listen to the water, my love. But the thing I think that got me was probably the starting point to where I am today with regards to nature and what it does for me, is he took me to this big ruin of this castle, and there was this tree, and he scooped me up because my legs they were not great. Scooped me up and he said, "Wrap your arms around this tree," and I went, "Pardon?" He went, "Wrap your arms around this old tree."
Yes.
You know what? That feeling, I'm getting all goosebumpy. That feeling of wrapping and holding and hugging the tree. Who knew that this lady by here was going to become a tree hugger? But to feel the energy coming up from the ground and up through the roots and the trunk of that tree. And now that's what I do as often as I can on the weekends when he's with me, to be able to, to be that support and to keep me safe in a physical sense. But to just touch a tree, no matter where I am, place the hand on the tree and just feel that beautiful, soothing energy. And it is something as simple as that, or placing your toes in the grass.
Yes.
That can just turn your whole world around and just help one baby step at a time.
Absolutely. And I think this is something that we both gain so much from individually, but also sharing our journeys. And it's forest bathing, or as my husband, who is Japanese, would say, it's shirin yoku. And I hope I pronounced that correctly. And what was so interesting from my personal journey of forest bathing was I've always been somebody who has been out in the sticks. I've always loved walking. I absolutely love the beach, but I love forests. I love the sound of the rustle of the leaves, whether it be winter, spring, summer. I love how trees look as though they are veils. I love willows, big grand statures of oak trees. And some, when the sun just comes through the crowning of the forest, and it's just, you're just like, this is magical. It probably takes me back to my days of Enid Blyton, and all of, yes. But
just to say there as well, sorry.
No.
But SPS with the wax and the wings, what you're able to do and what you're not, when you're able to be out in nature and when you're not. Now, I feel, because through the week, because if I do something on a Saturday or a Sunday, that means Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it is like, Elle, you stay put, young lady. You have to be in those four walls, in the quiet, little sound, little movement, etc., etc. It's the way SPS runs in my body.
Yes.
So to feed that it's such an awful feeling when you want to be able to get out and you can't.
Indeed.
And it's almost like you feel claustrophobic, and then you start to panic, and then you get scared because you're like, where is life going? But I just want to say, throughout the week, just to sit on the back doorstep with a hot drink, wrap up warm because it's super cold at the moment. It was -4 this morning.
Yeah, it's chilly here too.
And breathe in that fresh air as we speak about the morning sun, or even if there's no sun, just the morning air for a couple of minutes. Or if you are not able to get out of your bed, which Em and we have those days, and it is heartbreaking, open the bedroom window, allow that fresh air to come in. Have a house plant in every room of your home, just to bring nature in. And it's just finding those ways. So not going, but I can't get out. I can't do this. M&L, you're speaking of these things. I don't have this capability. I have no one to support me to do this. I want to do this. Don't get yourself in that downward spiral of I can't. There is always, I can. Go up the scale and find that way. And you can do it. I promise you can do it, because there is no one more lost than me. I promise you.
Well, I'm not sure. I might trump you on that some days, but I just listening to you there, and I think that was something that I found very difficult, was when it wasn't even so much bed rest, but perhaps you could use the word bed bound, where the fatigue was just overwhelming. Things were not going my way. My mind didn't like it. But I remember saying to you, and even prior to SPS entering my life, one of my favourite things has always been, regardless of the weather, is opening the window and being warm under the duvet.
Yeah.
And I've said that to you, and I love those days. And I've got the duvet up to my chin. All you can see is practically sometimes my eyes and top of my cheeks. The air is nippy. People in the house might come in and say, this room's freezing. And I'm like, oh, I know, it's lovely. And there I am, all curried down underneath my duvet. So it is about adapting and not panicking, but thinking, okay, because for me at the moment, I can't get out in those forest walks. But what I can do, I have went from opening the window perhaps about a month ago, and also just to say to anyone listening, and also to yourself, Lindsay, if I suddenly sound as though I have a peg on my nose, it's because I'm still trying to clear this cold flu, whatever it is, and it suddenly just comes on, as if I have a peg on my nose. So I do apologise in advance. But going from being in my bed to then thinking, I'm going to stand outside. Now, the first time I managed for 10 minutes and I allowed the sun to come in. The second time was 3 minutes. And that was yesterday. And then I sent you a picture, didn't I, to say, I've only managed 3 minutes, but I'm lying here with the sun shining on my face and I'm going for a snooze. So it's about adapting. And I think just touching quickly on that as well is accessible nature reserves. A lot of the national trusts or a lot of the parks do have wheelchair access.
Oh, you just read my mind. Because do you know what? That's what my husband and I do. Is I get that fear of what if I can't get back out again?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's like on the one side, and whether legs are dragging or or whether they're doing particularly well that day, it's never for very long. And I panic because I do have an electric wheelchair, I do have a manual assistant propelled wheelchair, I do have all the things, and that scares me because a lot of these places, as in forest walks and things, are not accessible, and it does frighten me. But as you say, explore, have a look around, and there are these places with beautiful wide paths that are not all stony and uneven, and even for walkers. Or
indeed,
is it the three wheel walkers that I were talking about?
Oh, the Delta, the three-wheeled walker, or indeed even a stick. Even if some people are having struggles with ataxia, or like myself with my vestibular issues at the moment, anything can throw me. So it's good to know that you can still access, and you don't even need to go deep into the woods. You can even just sit next to the first tree that's there. If usually there's a bench, somewhere along these paths, or a tree has very kindly, if something has happened and it's weather beaten, it's left its stump there for the walker to sit and rest and be thankful. So yes, we could talk about forest bathing for hours.
Yeah.
So what else, Lindsay, do you think in your routine, or what else would you say is important? I have some of my own, such as the ASMR. I love I love ASMR, and I think we've spoken about this quite a lot about rain sound and the sound of the fire. But there's also a YouTuber, and again, you speak of your past self. If my past self heard me saying these things, they'd be like, stop all this. What on earth are you doing? This is crazy. But now I look at my past self and think, no, you were crazy.
I love that.
But I've said to you that one of the things that really settles me down is 1930s scratchy vinyls. Oh my goodness, the tingles that go through me, the joy, the happiness, and that swing. But the other things I was saying, I was talking about this YouTuber. She's called ASMR Twix. And she's Japanese but speaks English. And listen, if anything, ever a job was designed for me, this is it. Is she tours Japan for all the beauty and holistic therapies. And she records herself having scalp cleanses, scalp massage, facials, massages, everything. And it's the most bizarre thing. But when I am at a stage where I've reached exhaustion, I pop her on, and within 10 minutes, I'm lost in her massage and I'm away. I'm away in my own world. It's bizarre.
Because I'm very picky. Well, not me personally, but my brain, the way the SPS decides, how it affects me with sound, and how I have to be very careful with what I listen to. So I love the crackling of the fire, as you know.
Oh, yes.
It's becoming where I have to be very selective, where I'm starting to turn it further and further now. But I still love, it's just beautiful. But where I'm going with this is more meditation.
Oh, yes.
And there's this particular one, it's Fall Asleep Without Worry. And she has, I can't remember her name, but as you say,
we can link it below.
And there is the rain sound in the background, but there is also this music that goes with the breath. One I haven't found in any other meditation. It's just, I don't know, it's almost like it brings me back home, as you say, to say. So there is also a Joe Dispenza one that I know we both love, meditation wise, that can be done any time of day, that can just help bring your heart back to center. So I just wanted to explore just a little bit with you, saying with, the rain sounds and this beautiful YouTube meditation is also something wonderful to bring into your day, into your night. Depending if you're a little bit unsteady and you're having trouble switching off.
Yes.
Try a few different ones.
I think so, because no size fits all. And I think that when you're embarking on this journey, it can feel as though it's you that's there's something wrong with you if you can't follow the meditation. But actually, it's a very personal journey. It's very unique. And if there is anything that comes from this, is that this is for you alone. Yes, when you reach these stages of calm and this well-being becomes, as you say, a way of life, it then feeds into other people. But when you're practicing these meditations, the beauty of this, it's for you, for the person that has been spinning the plates, that is struggling today, or indeed is having a great day and just wants to sit for a minute and go into inner silence, give gratitude, store it in the memory for the tough days to think, remember this day, and remember there will be other days like this too. Life has its ups and downs. That's life for everyone, and we're no different. We're just a bit more sensitive, and we're dealing with an active disease. And when you speak of meditation, there's another one that I find very good. There's two, in fact, although I must say, Lindsay, my favourite is Joe and his 15-minute mind GAD. Oh, I love that. And the family are all on board with that too. And I've sent that to so many friends who don't have any physical illness in their lives, but they have life stressors that are bringing them down at the moment. And I'm like, listen to this. And the feedback is, that's beautiful, that's amazing. But to say that one of sometimes perhaps it could be that you're you're at home and you can practice these meditations, or if you're a bit like me, going to hospital appointments, by the time I get there, my SPS is maybe kicking in a wee bit. I'm feeling a bit anxious about what am I going to say? How are people going to perceive me? And I've learned just to step away from that inner dialogue and do a 10-minute body scan. And one of the beautiful ones is with the breath, and the breath going to sending the breath to certain parts of the body that perhaps are struggling that day. And then the meditation takes you through as though when you start to breathe in, there's light comes in and flows in and out. It's incredibly beautiful. And another one is available on Spotify and YouTube, actually, is a 10-minute inner silence and mindfulness in minutes. I can't remember the girl's surname, Kelly. I don't know how I don't know her surname, because because I listen to her daily. So apologies, Kelly, but I'm not good with names. And it's that inner silence one. And she talks about a glass of water. But I try to imagine a snow globe now, when everything just, my mind starts to come and I come into center of myself. And again, my past self would be like, what are you talking about here? But when I go to that silent, inner silence meditation, I find myself, Lindsay, and I'm very gentle, and I can have a very gentle monologue with myself of, you're safe, you're okay, you're calm, all is well.
That's what I say to myself. I wrap my arms around myself.
Oh,
you're okay.
yeah.
All is okay. All is well. You're okay. You're safe. And the smallest thing that I start with, if I'm in a tailspin, and I remember sharing this with you probably not long after we first started chatting, was the smile, the power of a gentle smile. When everything else is in chaos, physically, mentally, emotionally, SPS. Here it is.
Yeah.
Gentle smile. There is this chemical reaction that brings this soothing gentleness, as if someone else is hugging you. It is beautiful. So if anything, have a gentle smile, smiling eyes.
And I think that's just such a wonderful way to draw a close to today. And I'll send a smile to you.
And me to you.
What I must say, Lindsay, not putting you on the spot or anything like that, but what I would say to our listeners is that this beautiful lady sat across from me today is not only a wonderful friend, but is an encyclopedia of resources, although she will not say so herself, but you are. And it has been your advanced knowledge and practice that really helped me rebalance and reshape my thinking in my well-being journey. And I will be ever indebted to you for this. So I'm wondering, we've mentioned many meditations, and perhaps that this you might even reiterate one of those. But I'm just wondering if you have any specific or favourite meditations, talks, because I know we like a bit of Eckhart. You introduced me to Eckhart. Music, anything that you could recommend or share with our listeners who are perhaps embarking and creating their first ripple of self-care, or someone who is already on the journey, and this could enhance their journey, or indeed just bring them back to centre. Is there anything that you could recommend that we could link below today's podcast?
I think for me, the one that comes to mind is a particular piece of music. It's on YouTube, and like you said, we'll link it below. And it's what I write to. So we haven't mentioned writing as part of
yes,
what we do.
Yes,
I do, because writing has very much brought me through this healing journey over these last few years. It's pick up the pen and write it out. On those days where, your SPS wise won't allow you to pick up a pen, talk it out. If on a day of SPS where it won't allow you to talk because of the lungs, the throat, fatigue, whatever, just maybe think it out. So this piece of music, I pop in, and it could be used as meditation, but it helps me with the automatic writing. So again, we'll link it below. But that for me, I think is the number one for the writing in the morning. And whether it's journaling, scripting, I mean, we can talk about all of this until the day is long.
Oh, yes.
We can do a part 2, 3, 4, because there is so many other things to discuss here. But for me, that's the one.
Oh, I look forward to listening to that. I'm wondering if it's one actually I'm familiar with, because you've shared a variety of resources. And as you say, I think we could talk for hours on this because, as you say, it is our life now.
It is.
It is our life, and what a beautiful life, and what a beautiful journey. And it's wonderful to share it with you, and indeed those that come along in my path. What I did want to say is we haven't mentioned journaling, so I do think there might be. I think there will be maybe part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 possibly along the way. But just to say, with regards to journaling, you know that we're so similar. Our synchronicity shock us sometimes that we wonder if perhaps we're actually the same person talking to ourselves, don't we?
Yeah.
On WhatsApp, and we've mentioned that before. It's one of our quirks. But as you know, I'm struggling with writing and reading at the moment with vestibular, but also just where I am in my journey. So what I found was when I couldn't pick up pen and paper, I just recorded on my phone. And that narrative, that self-narrative, it validates how you're feeling that day, allows it to come up, reach the surface, off it comes, leave it where it is, and it just seems to offload, uplift. So that if you are struggling like myself at the moment with reading and writing in the sense of functionally or processing with a very busy and overactive mind or a very tired mind, again, adapt it to yourself. This is your journey. Do it your way. Do it your way. As Lindsay would say, you do you.
Yeah.
Yes. So I would like to thank all our listeners for spending time with us today. And I think it is very fitting, Lindsay, to sign off today by saying lots of love with gratitude. Thank you for listening to today's episode. We would love to hear from you. You can find us on Facebook, SPS Unscripted Podcast. If you would prefer to DM us privately, then do so with the Facebook Messenger app. We're also over on Instagram, SPS Unscripted Podcast 1, all one word. A gentle reminder, we are not medical professionals. This content is reflective of personal journeys where we follow advice from our medical teams, and we strongly advise that you always consult your medical professional for advice.